So in a previous video, I did a quick recap of my visit up to Build Expo 2025. And so after I got back, I thought I would jump onto the B&H website and see if I could find those items that I was looking for. As often happens when you're out shopping, you see something else. And so let's look at what that something else is. Oh, by the way, this box apparently was slightly crushed in delivery. Hopefully nothing's damaged inside. Now, this is something that I'm particularly interested in. This is a product that's intended to help you digitize your slides and negatives. I'm very curious to see how well it works. So if we look at this, you can sort of see, how it works. It has the negative or slide holder here. Here's your light source, and then this is a small tube, and you connect your camera to it. The fault of many of the home solutions when you're using your digital camera is trying to keep your lens and camera exactly parallel to, well, really what becomes the film plane. And so if those are slightly out of parallel, of course, you're not going to get a geometrically correct or rectangular image. It's going to be off a little bit. So I'm very curious to see how well this works. Let's open it up and we'll get this on the video bench, see what's inside. So here we have it. This is the Vello 35 millimeter Digitize, 35 millimeter negative and slide digitizer. So that means, of course, it's not going to be able to handle 120 film. It probably would be able to handle 126 film if you had it, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to produce a negative carrier for 110 film. Be that as it may, there's no 110 film carrier available as far as I know. So anyway, on the box, as I had mentioned in the introduction, this is the full unit. Here's some more details on the back of the box. I'm not showing this because there's a lot of reflection from the camera, or there's a lot of reflection from the lights onto the box. So here's some claims. Easily digitized 35 millimeter negative in film and slides. Works with select Canon, Nikon, and Sony macro lenses. Holders for 35 millimeter film strips and mounted slides, and includes six lens adapters. I believe the lens adapters are really filter adapters. They're not really true lens adapters. And as you can see here, the camera is mounted via the tube into the unit itself. So what this includes an LED light source, the connector ×2. Not sure what that means. Film strip carrier, mounted slide holder, extension tubes. Okay, that makes sense. Lens adapters ×6, or 6 of them. USB power supply. So that'll be good. And then here's the website if you have more information. So let's just open the box and see what we have. All right. User manual. I hope there's this user manual. Oh, maybe it's one of these where it's sort of self-explanatory. Here it does explain how everything fits together. And there's some other useful information here. I will review this before I take a closer look. Small little silica gel pack and a thank you note. That's interesting. You don't see many of those these days. So a lot of little individual boxes. This probably is the holder, probably the negative holder. I don't know if this would hold like strips of 6 or 5. Oh, this is interesting. So here's your negative holder. Now, because the negative holder has 5 dividers, it precludes the use or the ability to scan film from panoramic cameras such as the Hasselblad X-Pan and others. And I suppose you could always purchase another film holder, negative holder, and simply remove these small dividers. So this most likely is one of the holders for slides. In fact, it is. And so you can see this holds 2 slides at a time. Returning to this holder real quickly, this can easily handle half frame because of course there are, it's a full negative. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is, if you cut your film in strips of 6, it can easily handle that. These seem to be made very well, and what's nice is instead of a plastic hinge, it has this pin or this rod that runs the length of it, so that's how this one is hinged. Oh, and here I thought this would be another holder. This in fact is your USB power supply. Not entirely sure what these are, but I'm sure it's going to be explained somewhere. This would be, certainly are a lot of pieces to this, aren't there? Okay, so this is your light source. So remember, one of the primary needs when scanning these is to have an even light source so that there's no variation in light side to side, top to bottom, or corner to corner. This small part I can see swings outward. And I don't know if it's to do something like this, make it easier to shoot, or what. We'll find out. Remember these small things? It looks like these then go here, part of the assembly. And then your negative holder will then slide. Oh, this is interesting. These have small detentes to help you position. So that's for the slides, and I wonder if the negatives have the same thing. Yes, it does. Okay. And if you notice at the ends here, they have these little depressions, make it easier to grasp. So far, I really like how this is created. I think this could be a pretty slick little device. Of course, the final proof is going to be, is it a device that will be able to allow you to properly scan a negative? Right, because that's always the final proof. All right, these 2 remaining boxes. Here's the tube. And these are made of metal. Non-metallic metal, but still metal nonetheless. So you have a number 2, one marked number 2. And I'm going to guess this one's marked, oh, also number 2. Okay. And now here you have your various rings. And these are marked number 3. That was interesting. I thought they might be marked according to the millimeter of your filter thread. This one's marked number 8, so let's just put all these aside for now. And see what's in the final box. I just want to say you can tell this is made in China, and the way you can tell it's made in China is because the number of boxes and bags. Everything is in its own little bag, and everything is then in a box. Now, this is interesting, as you recall, we had this unit, and then we had this unit. Perhaps this unit might be if you have your own independent light source. Or it simply is assembled like this. So forget what I said before about independent light source. It appears, well, you know what's unusual? What's unusual is that both of these have little spring clips for sliding in the carrier. But this definitely looks like this was made to be assembled. I'm not going to press everything together, but it looks like this definitely was made to be assembled something like this. So I'm not sure what the purpose is of having slide mount here or here. Perhaps it has something to do with the focusing ability of the lens that you're using. So next thing we're going to do, or next thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to read the instructions on how to assemble everything. This once again is a frosted piece of glass. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to guess that if you have your own light source, you have your own light source, you then use it in this manner, right? So where you don't have to use the included powered light source. I probably would favor using this simply because I think it's going to give you even coverage. However, if you have one of those light panels that provides even coverage, and that would be like a panel, like a box for viewing things. Anyway, if you have your own independent light source that you feel provides that even coverage, I imagine you can use this. So, like I said, I'm going to read the instruction manual and see exactly what it says, and then we'll be back with this thing fully assembled. I'll be testing this with two macro lenses that I have. One is this Carl Zeiss macro planar. This is for the Rolleiflex series of 35mm SLRs. This is a 60mm lens, as I recall. Yes, this is an f2.8 60mm lens. You can fit it to an extension tube to give you true one-to-one macro reproduction. The second lens that I'll be using this with is the Vivitar Series 1 90mm f2.5. This is a very highly regarded lens. With this adapter, this gives you one-to-one macro reproduction. We'll try both of these lenses, and first thing we're going to do, though, is put this all together, minus this, but put this all together, see how it all fits together, and then we'll be back for a closer look and some actual tests with this. We're going to pause here and end this video, and in part 2, I'm going to show you some of the things I learned. We'll look at some of the slides and negatives that I scanned, give you some tips on using this setup, and some of my thoughts and opinions. So look for part 2 of this video for the real-world tests. And so that brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like or subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, feel free to do so below or send me an email, contact@camera-talk.net. And don't forget to click that icon in the lower right corner of the screen for more content about cameras and photography. And I hope that you'll join me for part 2 of this video and future videos.